What's up, guys? Ninth Gym here, bringing another Pokemon Sword and Shield VGC 2020 competitive video. Today we're going to be talking about Charizard. More importantly, Charizard non-G-Max is the focus of the video, and then we also have the G-Max section at the end. However, I like the main without G-Max a little bit more because you have access to the hidden ability Solar Power. Right now, for the VGC 2020 rule set, you can only use the G-Max if you use just Blaze. You can't use the Solar Power hidden ability, which is actually very strong. So that is unfortunate. Blaze for the G-Max is not very helpful. I mean, it's good. Like whenever your HP is below a third, then your fire type moves are increased by 50%. So your Heat Wave becomes like really strong, or your Flamethrower or whatever becomes stronger. But like you're usually not gonna go down to that. You're like not super tanky, so you definitely can go down to that, but it's not as useful as the other one, which Solar Power is during Sun. You essentially just like specs damage, so like you gain 1.5 times special attack, and then you take Life Orb damage, which is 1/8 of your maximum HP every turn. So it's like you're just like more powerful, and it's really good actually. It's a really useful ability. You also get to pair it with things like Torkoal or Ninetales that instantly set Sun, so that you don't even have to do it manually with your Max when you G-Max or Dynamax. So that's also very useful. Everybody knows what's up with Charizard. Fire Flying, not a dragon, even though it looks like the most dragon looking Pokemon. But Fire Flying, really good, offensive, has access to a bunch of really good moves, like Heat Wave is really good for fire, and then also Flamethrower is an option, and then you also have access to Hurricane. I'm not sure where it is here. It's probably a TR, and Air Slash. Usually Hurricane because it's just more powerful and it can confuse, which is like really powerful, and then Solar Beam also, which is really cool because we're usually going to be playing in the sun, so having Solar Beam is good. Obviously Protect. Rock Slide is cool, but we're special, so it's like not actually going to use that. Sunny Day, so it can manually set it. You're never going to actually do it this way. He actually gets Will-O-Wisp, which is kind of cool. We don't have that on any of the sets, but that's interesting to like know that it can get. Fire Blast, of course, Flamethrower, like I mentioned already. And Hurricane should be in here. Yeah, Hurricane. So Hurricane is its most powerful flying type attack. 110. Is that accuracy? It's not that great of accuracy, but yeah, it's very powerful. Like Hurricane 110, and then it can confuse, which is like very powerful, and you're definitely gonna use it. Also, a lot of the times you're gonna max this guy, especially for the Gigantamax set. You're definitely gonna max it, and then Max Airstream is also very powerful in general. So that's good to keep in mind. And then here we'll show the G-Max Wildfire. This is what the Gigantamax version can use. G-Max Wildfire. It does it deals damage to all opponents for 4 turns, and it's actually like pretty relevant damage. It does like I'm trying to think. I don't remember exactly how much it does, but it's like a fire spin. It like sets them up, like it puts damage on them every turn. It doesn't keep them trapped in, but it's like pretty strong because it hits both Pokemon every single turn with an extra amount of damage. So that's really good. It doesn't stack, I don't believe, but that's like really powerful. So we'll look at these stats here. 110 or 100 speed is actually really good. For this Pokemon, you give it like you just max its speed usually. Or max speed, max special attack. So you can see here its special attack is 109 when its regular attack is 84. So we're definitely looking to use that. And also Solar Power gives us a 1.5 times multiplier on that special attack. So that's also very powerful. Not bad defenses. 78 defense and 85 special defense, and then 78 HP. We're quad weakness to rock. So on some builds, I'm going to try the Charty Berry, which is the it resists it lowers the effect of super effective, lowers the attack of super effective rock type attacks. So that's going to be the berry of choice for a couple of our builds. We'll go ahead and jump into some builds here. The first one is, like I was saying, Solar Power. So we have Solar Power here, Life Orb, just to do as much damage as we can. It's 1.3 times, and then we also Solar Power gives us the 1.5 times. And then we'll take a little, it's Life Orb takes 110. This gives 1/10, and then Solar Power takes 1/8 of your max HP at the end of the turn. So you'll take a little bit of damage, but it's fine because you're doing so much damage. We're also running Heat Wave, Solar Beam, Hurricane, and Protect on this set. Protect is just like there mostly as filler. You can change it out if you want to. The other build is a choice specs. So Hurricane, we have Flamethrower in place of that, but it could also be something like Dragon. I think it gets Dragon Pulse. Yeah, you could run Dragon Pulse in that spot as well, or if you wanted to on this spot instead. But I like Protect on this Pokemon as it's susceptible to a lot of attacks. Like we said, it's quad to Rock, and then there's also a lot of Lightning. There's also water, a lot of water in the meta, so it's pretty useful to have Protect on here. Solar Beam, like we said, we usually want to pair it with something like Torkoal that sets Sun on switch in, so that we can use Solar Beam for free as well. It also gives us max overgrowth when we max, which is pretty important to be able to deal with any water threats. It's really good against Gastrodon. Even through like Rindo Berry, it still does a lot of damage, and then after the Rindo Berry, it's like a guaranteed 2-shot, so that's really interesting. Good to know. Hurricane's just, like we were saying, really powerful. Not the best accuracy here, but it also does, it can't miss in rain. So when your opponent, like if you play against a rain team and they set rain, then you can guarantee hit the Hurricane. Although granted, you're probably not going to be bringing Charizard in against rain, so keep that in mind. But anyway, we have into our EVs here, we just max our special attack and max our speed. Just want to deal as much damage as we can and as fast as possible, so we also made it timid, just so that we can outspeed everything. 167 is actually a really strong speed stat here. And then we have the same, just about everything is the same for the second Solar Power build. It's just choice specs instead of the Life Orb, and then like I said, Dragon Pulse or Flamethrower instead of the Protect, since you don't really want to lock yourself into Protect with choice specs. In the same spread actually as well, just maxing a special attack, max speed, and then timid. You could play around with this if you don't need to outspeed as much stuff. You can definitely run like a modest build where your special attack is increased then instead. 177 plus the multiplier of Solar Power and choice specs or Life Orb is actually getting really, really powerful. Charizard attacks really, really hard, and that's like really, really good to have in your back pocket when you're playing this, when you're playing a team with this. Although when you're playing Solar Power, you are going to be a little bit more focused in on fire, so you're gonna have like a Torkoal or a Ninetales and a Charizard, and then a lot of the times you'll probably put like a Vileplume on your team too, just because it can really take advantage of the Sun with the ability Chlorophyll, doubling its speed. So then you have a couple of really fast, strong Pokemon on your team, and Vileplume has access to a lot of good support moves, and Charizard is very aggressive, so that's really good too. Anyway, we'll talk about the G-Max version here for a second. G-Max is actually being played a lot in on the ladder. I see G-Max Charizard everywhere, and so that's pretty interesting. We're running Charizard Berry here on this. Like I said before, it just lowers the attack, halves the damage taken from super effective rock type attacks, which is enough. There's like Excadrill and Tyranitar running around with Rock Slide in the meta right now, so you're gonna want to like protect yourself from against that with the Charizard Berry. Unfortunately, you can't run Solar Power G-Max Charizard right now. You can only use Blaze, so that really sucks, honestly. But Blaze is fine. Like I said, it's alright. But the G-Max is so powerful that like Blaze is okay to use. Running the same set as the first one, Hurricane, Heat Wave, Solar Beam, Protect. Honestly, its move pool isn't like very, very extensive, and these are like the best for those types. You could always change Heat Wave out for Flamethrower, although I like Heat Wave a lot. Chance to burn, and it hits both foes, which is good, although it will do less damage, so keep that in mind when you use her Heat Wave. And then for the spread, we have the same as the first spread here, where it's just max special attack and max speed. This Pokemon will definitely be submitted to some changes here. With it being so powerful and so fast, you can definitely change it to outspeed the certain things that you want, but there are a couple of scares, like things like Dracovish with Scarf. Let me see actually. Dracovish with Scarf positive. It's probably going to be a neutral nature, but still invested. So 190 is still going to be outspeeding us every time here with 167 with Timid. So that's pretty unfortunate. Hitting into a Vicious Rend, that'll deal a lot of damage to you as a Charizard. So keep that in mind. That's why we have a couple of Pokemon here on the side. We have Gastrodon as one of our support Pokemon, being able to use Storm Drain to absorb any water type attack, so that when you see a Vicious Rend coming, you can just switch out your partner Pokemon into Gastrodon, hit a Storm Drain, soak up the attack, and then and then raise your own special attack, and then still being able to attack with this, hitting something like a Solar Beam or Max Overgrowth, and then being able to deal with a lot of threats with Gastrodon just chilling, getting stronger, and then walling out a lot of Pokemon is always a good option. We also have Togedemaru here with Lightning Rod. There's a lot of other Lightning Rod Pokemon, like something like Raichu could also be on the team. And also, it's not like you need a Lightning Rod Pokemon, but it is pretty good to have a Lightning Rod Pokemon when you're using this guy, because it'll do like a lot of damage here. If we like take something like Rotom into so Rotom Wash here. Hydro Pump is doing a lot. Volt Switch is doing a lot. We're also looking at Thunderbolt can have a chance of OHKOing, and this is with very minimal investments, only 60 investment into its special. So if you look at something like a Specs version, where it's likely to have pretty maxed out, it will be OHKOing every time with Thunderbolt. Not every time 93, but just about every time, and then Hydro Pump will OHKO every time, although that's a little less accurate than Thunderbolt, so Thunderbolt will definitely be used a lot also for it. So keep that in mind when you're using Charizard. You might want to pair it with something that can resist other super effective attacks. Gastrodon and Raichu are good picks. Gastrodon also will resist rock attacks too, so if you use your Charty Berry and then you run into late game, you can also switch into something like Gastrodon when you expect like a rock slide to come down. Gastrodon will resist it and then just attack really hard with stuff like Scald and Earth Power, stuff like that. So those are really good picks to be on your team as well. And like I mentioned, also Vileplume, since you're going to be running with the non-Gmax version, you're going to be running something for Sun. And even with the Gmax version, with Sun active, you're dealing a lot of damage with Heat Wave or Max Flare. So it's like pretty decent to have Sun up. Chlorophyll is an amazing ability with Sun up, being able to double your speed and then hit things like Sleep Powder and doing after use for your Torkoal, or even just hitting your Solar Beam of your own. You're dealing a lot of damage with this Pokemon as well, being able to out any Gastrodon that stands in your way as well, because Charizard can't really deal with a Gastrodon on the opposing side. You'll kind of have to like worry about that with something else. You can of course Solar Beam, but like you won't be able to take many attacks from it. And Solar Beam is not like bad for it. So we'll see here. Gastrodon, let's try the default set, 108 defense. It might be higher usually, but Solar Beam is doing a little less than half, and also Max Overgrowth doesn't have a guaranteed OHKO. It has a 37.5 chance to OHKO, and they'll usually be using the Rindo Berry. It's a very popular item for... Whoops. Where'd you go? It's a very popular item for it, so then you're only going to be doing like not even half, usually, maybe around half for that, for the Max Overgrowth. And if they Dynamax, then like, you're not, it's not going to be amazing. Or actually, when we Dynamax, does that like take away their berry? I thought they could still berry when they're Dynamax. Yeah, because Lucario Shuka berries. So I don't know. But oh, that was with Dynamax. Okay, so Dynamax is not gonna kill it. With Dynamax, it is, or when they're Dynamax, it's not gonna do like a great amount of damage. But when they're not Dynamax, then it's very strong. But you won't have a guaranteed amount, a guaranteed chance to kill it. It's 37, and that's with like pretty minimal stat investments. And if you pair it with something like Excadrill and start hitting some really powerful max moves that buff your defenses, then it'll be harder to deal with. So yeah, that's pretty much it for Charizard. So in sum up, Really powerful sweeper with solar power under Sun for regular Charizard. And then you Chardy Berry. Make sure it can live Rock Slide or two from like something like Excadrill or the Tyranitar. And it's unfortunate that I can only get Blaze and instead of Solar Power, but it is what it is. Pair it with something like Torkoal or Ninetales to get the or to get the Sunny Day up for free. You could also pair it with something like Sableye for Prankster. Sunny Day is as well a good option there. But anyway, yeah, that's pretty much it for Charizard. Really powerful Pokemon, really fast Pokemon. So yeah, if you like this kind of content, go ahead and like and subscribe, and also comment down below any guide that you want to see in the future, or any kind of content really. Suggest whatever you want. So thank you for watching.